Brett, how about over at Department of Navy? I know you all have a lot of activity going on over there. Obviously, you're probably coordinating with the Jake. There's a lot of AI and ML and RPA type stuff going on in the Navy.
Yeah, absolutely, Luke. And you're absolutely right. So almost every day I work with the Jake, and over the last year or so, I've been amazed at how much AI we're actually doing cross service. And just only recently we developed the ability to actually discern that, right? Do an inventory and view what's going on. And it's not easy because over the last couple of decades, the technology and the terms have changed. The lexicon, the language has changed. So it's a challenge to keep up. But you know, in the Navy, I like to start out, you know, talks like these on explaining why AI is important to us. You know, if you look at strategic guidance from the president, from Congress, from our chief of naval operations, and you were to collect all the references to AI, implicit or explicit, you would find a capability target or a picture painted that for me is exponential. It's on an exponential curve. And it's significantly dependent on emerging technologies like AI. AI is not the only one. Nanotech, robotics, additive manufacturing, 5G, all in that family, right? And they're all digital and information based, heavily dependent on an underpinning of a tight and solid digital fabric. So my challenge is we're a 245-year-old organization. We weren't born digital, so we're in the middle of what I call a phase shift to become more digital, to lay the keel, that foundation you were talking about, because that is absolutely necessary if your aim is to scale technologies like AI. So that's top of mind for me. The next piece that I like to talk about is what we mean by AI when we say it. In the Navy, we recognize AI as a constellation of technologies across 5 bands. They include robotic process automation, intelligent automation, cognitive analytics, narrow AI, and even general AI. If you were to look at a single instance of AI, the key mental model that we employ is called the AI stack. And essentially what that is we always start with a problem first. We don't start with AI because AI is not this. It's not going to be a solution in every case. So break a problem down. And if AI could be the solution, we work through the stack, which means it's not just software. It's data, it's transport, it's compute, it's models, it's algorithms, and several other components that have to be composed, held, kept coherent, secured, tested and evaluated, and sustained along a consistent continuum. So that idea or notion of the stack is very important to us. And it's not just the technology. I think Sanjay said it. It's especially for me, when I look at the challenge of moving a 245-year-old organization like the Navy, steeped in culture, from its industrial roots, you know, to a more digital mindset. The challenges are technologic and they're cultural or practice or process oriented, and it's the latter that really, for me, present the most work and the most challenge. The technology is straightforward in many cases, but changing the culture and the way we think and act to do AI right is one of the biggest challenges for us. And just again, you know, problem first. We always start with, you know, looking at a challenge or a problem, and even, you know, I call it the AI calculus of determining whether or not AI is even the right hammer for your given nail, right? Recently, you know, we're doing a lot, as I said initially, and I think folks would be amazed how much activity is going on. Just recently, our MQ-25 Stingray, which is the first unmanned vehicle to operate off an aircraft carrier, just successfully refueled an E-2 to a Hawkeye and an F-35 Joint Strike Fighter. That's happened in the last couple months. And also on September 9th, the Navy commissioned Task Force 59, which is the unmanned and AI task force for the Fifth Fleet in the Gulf. So there's a lot more going on. Those are just a couple examples of where we're headed.
Sure.
Just to cap it off, it's, if you crack open the Navy and look at, our application, a development application of AI, it's really gonna end up serving two ends. It's either gonna fuel some level of autonomy in an unmanned system, or it's gonna fuel or propel some type of decision aid. And that decision aid could be on the bridge of a ship in the middle of the ocean, or it could be back in the Pentagon. And the challenge of managing that continuum of keeping the stack solvent from, the Pentagon to the middle of the Pacific is one of the unique challenges we have as a military department.
Sure.